Eeny, meeny, miny, Joe. Get it? Because today we are playing Last of Us Part 1. Now, I honestly was the type of person who played Part 2 before Part 1, because I'm just a Chad, but I figured out today I should start from the beginning. Before we start, I just want to say that this was streamed on Twitch, but we also stream on YouTube and TikTok, so subscribe if you want to watch more live streams and drop a follow on Twitch as well, and if you want to see more kinds of these videos. It's free and you can change your mind whenever you want to. The game starts with a prologue, which is basically just Joel's backstory, aka how the apocalypse started. Now this was one of the coldest and best intros for a game ever written, in my opinion, and made, since his kid dies and he's feeling sad and lives in the misery for the rest of his life, sort of. The real moment when we start playing this game was set in 2013 timeline, and Joel and this chick Tess, that I honestly feel bad for later on, were on a mission to go grab a package, and we are not talking about coke here, getting from point A to point B. However, before we went to pick up the package, we were stopped by some thugs that we killed, and then we killed some more, and we then went to grab the package. Turns out back in 2013 human trafficking was legal. No, like deadass it was, since the package was a child named Ellie. Of course we are going to play her in a part 2 most of the time, but that don't matter since that's another video on itself. God bless America. The journey of our human trafficking begins at night, since we thought nobody would see us, but turned out there was some officer that caught us and had some kind of a gun that can know if we are infected or not. Turns out that this child was AIDS positive, which was weird because she didn't die or turn into a zombie. However, she said that she has some kind of superpowers or some kind of genetics that are immune to it. This is why kids, you should use protection. After a little bit of exploring and going through the streets, we went into some buildings and down to the metro station, where we met zombies and clickers. Now zombies can see us and are pretty easy to kill. However, these clickers are a bit tougher, sons of bitches, and they are Stevie Wonder, aka blind. However, what I found relatable about these clickers is whenever I grab a snack at 3 AM, my mom has the same sense as these clickers, which is relatively confusing yet relatable. Maybe she's infected as well, but so far I'm not infected. By the way, I forgot to mention that there are tons of papers to collect, like journal pages, letters, and so on. But there are also safes or vaults to crack. You either enter the codes from a paper or have to do a little bit of thinking and searching for the codes. Going through Boston streets are something I imagine how place looks like. However, what I know for a fact is that we can find workshop to upgrade our guns, which we did, and we did a little bit of upgrading. Somehow we ended up on a roof and decided that we should become a Spider-Man, since it was harder for zombies and the gangs called hunters to spot us. Ended up in Amazona with some good graphics. Unfortunately, my PC isn't that strong to run 4K at 60 FPS, but 1080p should do. Still looks amazing. We got into a Capitol building. Well, dreams go to die, but so does your allies. Take a look at the Tess, for example. While on our way to there, she got bit and infected, and she had like 2 days to turn herself into a monster. But she said, nah fam, I don't want to do that transformation, so she held the hunters back. Honestly, shout out to Tess. She's a real proof that in the apocalypse, you're either infected in denial or Joel's emotional support trauma. Also, she said she got like maybe 2 hours, which is funny because I take longer to choose a Netflix show than that. After she played a white knight, we set our foot into the metro station again and had to wear gas masks since they are so-called spores that we cannot breathe. Of course, like I said before, the girl has some superpowers, so she doesn't need that, which is crazy since later on we found out that the kid can't swim, so we had to assist her with every platform every single time she sees a little bit of water. Oh God, they trying to drown me in that hole! While going to point B, we had to take a car, but since it's 2013, cars were rare as gold. We needed also a battery for it, so he had to find a guy named Bill. But the Bill was a genius on its own since he was a prankster. You see, Bill set traps all around the place he lives. So, as being Joel, we kinda stepped into one of his traps by basically hanging up upside down. Of course, we couldn't rescue ourselves, so Ellie had to do the job, but she was a kid, so we hanged up for like 5 minutes. I honestly don't know how we survived it, but at least our blood got into our brain and we found Bill. Now, once we got into his HQ, we found our tool upgrade, which we can use to upgrade our weapons even more, but also a nail bomb, which is basically another name for a grenade. Now, I'm gonna set it here as well. Tool upgrades are scattered around the map, okay? As we progress through our story, you get tool numero 2, 3, 4, so on and so forth. You get the point, you get the gist. Now, Joel did a favor for Bill, and to make it even, Bill walked us to a garage where the battery was not located. Yes, Bill scammed us. Well, sort of, since Bill had either a friend or a boyfriend named Frank who hanged himself because he got infected, but left us a note in which he said he couldn't be with him anymore and that he also got infected and placed a battery inside of a car. Unfortunately, the battery was empty, so Ellie had to drive while Billy and Joel pushing it. Now, honestly, I don't know where she learned to drive, but never got taught to swim. Like, what the fuck? But we are in Pittsburgh. Our mission was to meet Joel's brother named Tommy, who was an ex-Firefly. After Joel also took a wheel, shit hit the fan. Quite literally. He managed to crash into a store, while in the meantime we also got raided by hunters, so we offed them. Also, Joel deserves Dad of the Year award since Ellie grew on him and he decided that she deserves a gun. I guess that's how American fathers raise their daughters, which I'm jealous of actually, because at least she's being taught young. While we were going through Pittsburgh, there was a military vehicle that hunters got and equipped with a machine gun. Luckily, Joel is a 57-year-old and he still has a Spider-Man dream, so he decided that him and Ellie should sneak past him by hugging the wall and get into the room where another kid has a gun. But also, his older brother tried to choke Joel out, which was fair enough because Joel gave him a beating, so I call it self-defense. These kids are named Henry and Sam. Henry was older brother looking out for Sam, but they also wanted to go across the city and meet with Fireflies, since they have a shelter for people. Joel and Henry made a plan to go through the Fedra base, which was owned by hunters, but the plan wasn't planning. You see, since Henry backstabbed us and left Joel on its own, Ellie was a type of kid that has more balls than a teenage guy, so she decided to stick with Joel. While in the meantime, there was a military vehicle that I mentioned before, chased both Joel and Ellie to the ends of the bridge. No, I'm not joking, quite literally to the end of the bridge. So she jumped and somehow survived the stormy weather and ended up on some island which has a big sewer that we ended up to go through. However, in the sewers, there are some angsty pranksters and decided to split Joel and Ellie, Sam and Harry up. So Joel was stuck with Sam and Harry was stuck with Ellie. I guess the game tried to end the racism here. But that didn't last long since we all got back together. After they regrouped, they were attacked by hunters, but with a twist. One of them tried to snipe us. However, his aim was shit, so he missed all of his shots, and Joel had an opportunity that he used, so he killed a guy that was holding the sniper and grabbed it. And killed all of them, including the stupid military vehicle that was still searching for us. Like I said before, human trafficking was the best way to profit in 2013. Everyone wants your head. In the end, they found a place to crash and it ended up in a crash. Our buddy here, named Sam, got infected and attacked Ellie. So Henry shot him and then later on proceeded to off himself. I guess suicide runs in the family. Also, I forgot to mention that when we first met Henry, he said to us, "If Sam's not going, I'm not going either." I guess he meant it quite literally. It's fall, and it was time to meet our brother Tommy, who was in Jackson County apparently. Now this village looks like a Clash of Clans Town Hall 17 base, everything maxed out. They had a dam, which was a big deal back in those days. But Joel didn't come here for the electricity. He came there to ask his brother for help. So he told him a story about this girl, but fortunately and unfortunately, they got into an argument. Family, am I right? But Tommy in the end decided to walk us through the streets of Jackson and left us at the University of Eastern Colorado. Well, okay, he didn't technically left us. He told us to go there. We saw some monkeys. Also, Joel got fucked up for the first time. I mean, at least I ever seen it. So Ellie dragged him on a horse and we are now playing as Ellie for a few minutes. But basically, Joel was hurt and needed the medicine and food. So Ellie hunted a deer in the woods that needed 5 hours to be killed. Honestly, tough motherfucker. But there were two guys, one named Dave and the other I forgot the name of, to be honest. But he wasn't that important since there was over here the Pope and the mayor of his own village. And apparently he needed food to feed people. While Ellie's village needed meds like penicillin. So David sent the other guy to grab it and they got stuck together to fight the zombies off. And after they saved their asses, the other guy came and actually delivered the medicine, which was surprising. I thought that fucker would scam us. So Ellie rushed to the Joel, gave him a medicine, and of course, since she wasn't experienced, she left horse tracks on the floor, and these guys chased Ellie, and in the end, she got kidnapped a few blocks away to a city named Silver Lake. But in the meantime, Joel decided, oh, it was a great time to wake up and kill someone. So that's what he did. He killed 2 guys while interrogating them to find where Ellie is, and I gotta say, this guy is really good at it. Also, Ellie kinda had a interesting conversation with this guy named Dave, but at least she killed the other dude that I forgot the name of and tried to escape. Since I think he was more of a rapist than a mayor, but we will let that slide for now. We gotta escape, you know. While escaping, Ellie went inside some diner where David grabbed us to go back to it and lock the doors. So we had to fight him to the death. Also, the place was on fire, but at least he gave her traumas, which in the end, that's what we needed, you know. After that traumatic experience, they ended up in Salt Lake City, where apparently fireflies were at, and where they can make a cure for AIDS, which is a lie since till this day there is no cure. I guess they tried a Nigerian breed scheme that worked for a while, but since Joel wanted for them to go back, but Ellie decided to push forward, and that's what they did. They also saw giraffes. I honestly don't know what the fuck was game on, I guess drugs, but nonetheless, we again got kidnapped, but this time by fireflies. Both of them ended up in a hospital. When Joel woke up in a hospital bed, they said that Ellie was going through a preparation for a surgery. Now, Joel is the type of guy you can't say no to. So what he decided is, instead of being walked out of the hospital thinking they would find a cure, he actually walked out with a body count and world's most traumatized teenager. 10 out of 10 patient care. Also, I forgot to mention, Joel killed both the surgeon. Okay, we technically didn't kill him. We basically fried him into atoms. He also shot the leader and killed the leader of Fireflies. And since he's also protective, he also lied to Ellie saying that they don't need her. And this is where the game ends, basically. But before we really end, we also had a DLC to play, which I will explain in less than 2 minutes. The DLC said how Ellie got infected. Ellie had a friend named Riley, and basically Riley went to join the Fireflies while Ellie was stuck with Fedra and the training and schooling, whatever. And she was also problematic as always and decided to escape with Riley because Riley wanted to visit her after some time. I don't know why, but she snuck up in her room. So they went into a mall, played a bunch of arcade games, had laugh with a book filled with jokes, but all the good things must come to an end. Am I right? They both got infected. However, Riley died because of a skill and genetical issues. You know, her fault, she didn't choose the right parents. And that's about it really. The story was insanely good written and an amazing switch. They had more ammo to pick up, but that's about it. Thank you guys for watching. If you did, leave a like, also subscribe for more, follow me on Twitch for more live streams. Let me know down in the comments what you think of Last of Us. Anyways, that's it. Peace.